Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here. Good. It's supposed to be right. Okay. My name is Gonçalo Gomes. I come from University of Aveiro, which is in Portugal. And I come to present you my ongoing investigation that I'm developing, focus on the importance of bottom-up approaches and the construction of Portuguese design heritage. This is a research that I'm developing within a greater project, a bigger project that is called. I think it's stable. Okay, this is an investigation that I'm involved in a bigger project called Seeds.pt. It's a term that in Portugal means Interpretation Center for Portuguese Design. It's a short name for this reference. And got this double sense with the word in English that is seed. This project comes as a result of some worries that we identified in Portugal as some apparent lack of public interest about Portuguese design, somehow the incorrect use of the concept of design and the term of design in publicity and other kind of support. And above all, we think there's this little attention paid to the culture of design by the part of the industry and the state, and that's a problem when we are trying to promote design, Portuguese design internationally. Portuguese products are rarely associated to features other than low cost, low technology, low competitiveness, and subcontracting. But the truth is that we have an extended heritage of very good artifacts. Okay, I'm going to try not to touch the computer. We have this heritage of really good Portuguese artifacts, and some of them are very dispersed on the country, and some of them are at risk of oblivion. And so it is urgent to do something to try to gather these objects. And upon this, also try to promote them, and upon them help the industry as an argument for a better contemporary design products. So this is what we call a symbolic deficit, this difference between the image that people have about Portuguese design artifacts and the reality of the history of the heritage that we have in Portugal. And so this reveals the need to invert the state of affairs, which we believe that can happen by revaluing some products with which we lived in the past, making available somehow the methodological experience of creation, like trying to explain people how design solves problems and how do we come up with these solutions. And so this way people can understand better the role of design and at the end valuing these projects. So basically, just this one, our aim is to research, develop and evaluate new approaches to history, museology and museography of design, focusing on Portuguese design as a case study. So why, just as a final slide to show you the importance of this project, I'd like to, I don't know if the computer is okay. So why are we doing that, or why do we think this is important? So as a first point, we believe that the evaluation of Portuguese material culture requires an operative vision from the design perspective. You know, like we need to explain to people why design is different from art or from technology by itself, and this is something that we in the design field have not yet been completely resolved, but we are working on it. And sorry for the technical problem. We know that the knowledge about Portuguese design remains scattered and unsystemized, so it's important to do this work. And on the third point, the lack of narratives based on currently available technology means does not promote the necessary space for a socially critical debate. So this is kind of so this is the main goal from this broader project within my that my research is inserted. And I found years ago an opportunity within this convention that some of you probably know. It's called the Faro Convention. It is the short name for the Council of Europe Framework Convention on the Value of Cultural Heritage for Society. That was signed by Portugal and other state members of the European Union in 2005. And it defines the concepts, objectives, rights, responsibilities and policies relating to cultural heritage to be implemented by its signatories. This convention also emphasizes the importance of citizens' participation not only with regard to the use of cultural heritage but also making decisions regarding its definition, selection and enrichment. So I started from this point onward, I started to work on this field of people's participating on the creation of not knowledge, but on the first step, information about the heritage of Portuguese artifacts. The Faro Convention has these two articles that are, I think it's very important for us. It's Article 4, Rights and Responsibilities Relating to Cultural Heritage, where it's established that the parties recognize that everyone, alone or collectively, has the right to benefit from the cultural heritage and to contribute toward its enrichment. And Article 12, access to cultural heritage and democratic participation, where it settled that the parties undertake A. to encourage everyone to participate in the process of identification, study, interpretation, protection, conservation and preservation of cultural heritage, and in the public reflection and debate on the opportunities and challenges which the cultural heritage represents. Okay. So this brings this role of citizen with additional responsibilities, which although it was always present, but never before has been recognized or established in a convention as this one. As you know, social technologies brought this reality to different levels on the beginning of the 21st century. As this array of digital tools and systems online and at our disposal have allowed the establishment of new models of participation, collaboration, thus causing major changes in how we communicate. As explained by Clay Sharkey, when we change the way we communicate, we change society. So these emerging tools and practices that promote connections, production, sharing, localization, publication, and distribution of content are characterized primarily by the ability to facilitate greater social participation in technological mediated contexts. So this is really important in our society. There's a fast society, and mainly as our role as producers, that it's a concept that Axel Burns brought us in 2007 that talks about the producers and users of technology, not just as consumers, but producers and users of technology but also of content and service collectively created online. So, as this reality becomes essential to, as this is a new reality, it becomes essential to investigate how the integration of these new products, services, and technologies are influenced, not only the way the citizens interact, but also how these tools promote new relationships between citizens and heritage, thus bearing a direct impact on how communities will construct our social memory, meanings, and social values. So, sorry. So this is a dimension of my investigation. The other one is regarding design history. Okay. The other one is regarding design history. As stated by Chettle Fallen, it's a design history teacher. It tells that design objects, their conception, manufacture, meanings, and use have been subject to historical studies for a long time now by other fields such as archaeology, art history, or just history. But the truth is that design history is a kind of a relatively recent phenomenon as a discipline because it's kind of a dark field that we are still working on it. On the beginning, it was very influenced by the tradition of art history, mainly because of the works of Pevsner and other historians, and in some ways are always presented in various sub-disciplines of design, such as fashion design or industrial design or other kind of designs. So it's important to understand what makes design a discipline. So to define design history as a discipline of our own. So there's this new opportunity that comes from material cultural studies and what is usually called as a social history, the social lives of artifacts. That's a concept from Apadrai. That works on this relationship with people with objects, and usually I focus on the consumption. So one of the most interesting approaches is this one, but design, as Lima Fey states, works the relationship between design goods and consumers, and traditionally, design history is more focused on production, so material cultural studies are focused on consumption, and this we have. Okay. So we believe there's an opportunity on work on this bridge between production and consumption, and design history can benefit from that relationship. So one of the task that I'm doing is trying to evaluate the community of Portuguese reality regarding the use of social technologies in the process of collecting and preserving our material cultural heritage. So we conducted an explorative study investigating the information that everyday citizens publish on one specific social technology that are blogs. This is an obvious choice, since blogs are here almost from the beginning, although social technologies are not so old. But we focus on two main questions at the beginning, is to see if this practice of social generating information about historical artifacts exists, and if is that true, what kind of information is being published. Okay, thank you. So we studied 75 blogs, which is not much, but Portugal is a small country, so it's a big, it's somehow interesting sample. And then we conducted a survey that we got 15 validated answers with a deeper level of information, and then 4 interviews. So just as general conclusions, we we saw that some of the bloggers use the blog as a tool to gather information, to copy paste it from some other places, or reposting news. And there's a lot of people who are still using them as a real publishing platform of personal generated content. So this importance of sharing the importance of sharing this information so that it doesn't get lost in time was one of the main answers. So this reality that people have regarding the importance of Portuguese artifacts exists, and they are working on it as a society. Some of them focus, as we were talking yesterday within the European presentation, the importance of digital repositories as a source of as a source of information is very important. A lot of them are working with information that comes from places that are recognized. And in some cases we identify this discussion and enrichment by other users, mainly through comment boxes and some discussions that happens in forums that are bringing some new information that somehow we didn't realize about Portuguese artifacts. So just to give you, and to finish, just to give you an overview of what we're collecting, we have this kind of blogs that is from it's more of a, well, this is from a history teacher, he's also a researcher, and so it's a more classical research project, but she uses this blog to promote that investigation, so it's more of a classic approach. Then we have we have also designers who, besides their activity as designers, do some publishing on this is Portuguese illustration from the 20th century. Then we have the common day people. This is a school teacher from little kids. And he has this blog about vehicles, Portuguese vehicles, motorcycles and bicycles. It's huge. It has a lot of amount with all this new information that it's very important to collect. This is coming from people, and people who use these bikes and use these motorcycles and exchange parts and do the repairs. It's very important. And finally, we also have this kind of, not this one, this kind of blogs. This is from a guy that he doesn't work, he stays at home, and 7 days a week he just publishes on the blog. He never leaves home, and he only uses online repositories for gathering the information. Talking about photos and text, and he has this huge amount of information that he turns available every day, and this is also a researcher, but it's not even, I think he's an engineering, electric engineering. So just as a future development, and just to finishing, we are now studying approaches from the designers. This is a work from a designer who made this poster as an order from the CPD. It's the Portuguese Center of Design on the beginning of the 21st century, and it's a collection of the most important pieces of the 20th century of Portuguese design. We're doing it with designers, and we are doing it with scholars, with teachers, investigators of Portuguese design history, and we are now gathering these discourses and on this matrix, trying to see how can we put this information together, coming from people, from designers, and from scholars. Okay, thank you.